Good evening. We will begin tonight's meeting of the Clovis City Commission. I'd like to welcome all of the commissioners that have joined tonight's meeting. I'd also like to welcome our city manager, Mr. Howalt, as well as any department heads that have joined us and city staff that have joined us. I'd also like to welcome the public, as our meeting is viewable this evening on the city's Facebook page as well as the city's website and on Suddenlink Channel 10. Although we're not allowed to have the public join us in person, we would like for you to participate, and you're welcome to call in with your comments or questions or any public comment that you would like to get before the commission this evening, and you're free to do that now and wait on hold until the point in the agenda where we would ask you to unmute and share whatever it is that you may have to share. And you can call 575-763-9200. And doing so would give you the opportunity to bring public comment before the commission this evening. We'll begin tonight's meeting with a prayer, which I will lead, and then we will go right into the pledge. If you would pray with me. Heavenly Father, thank you for this evening and this opportunity to gather and do the business of the city of Clovis. And Lord, we pray for your wise guidance and ask that you would lead us to be good stewards of the city's resources. God, we thank you for our wonderful community, and we pray for blessings and prosperity. We pray for our state's leadership, and as the legislators have entered the 60-day session, we pray for great things to come out of that. We also pray for our new president, Biden, and his administration, and we ask that you would bless our nation and lead us in prosperity. I pray these things in the name of Jesus. Amen. Join me in the pledge to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendships among united cultures. This meeting of the Clovis City Commission has been called to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Lovett? Commissioner Lovett? Commissioner Lovett?
I apologize, hit the wrong button. Commissioner Lovett here.
Commissioner Madrid sends his apologies. Commissioner Casals?
Commissioner Casals here.
Commissioner Elliott?
Commissioner Elliott here.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant?
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant here.
Commissioner Garza?
Commissioner Garza here.
Commissioner Rowley?
Commissioner Rowley here.
Mayor Morris?
Here. Thank you, Ms. Burrows. Next is approval of the agenda. Commissioners, you've had the opportunity to review the agenda. I have one removal, and that is in section 13, item 3. We're going to remove that from tonight's agenda. That is all I have, so I'll now check with each of you in order to see if you have any recommendations to rearrange or remove any of the agenda items in addition to the one that I've mentioned.
I make a motion to approve with that exception.
Commissioner Rowley, second.
We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Casals and a second from Commissioner Rowley. If we could have a roll call vote, please, Ms. Burrows.
Commissioner Casals?
Commissioner Casals, yes.
Commissioner Elliott?
Commissioner Elliott, yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant?
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, yes.
Commissioner Garza?
Commissioner Garza, yes.
Commissioner Rowley?
Commissioner Rowley, yes.
Commissioner Lovett?
Commissioner Lovett, yes.
By a vote of 6-0, the motion is carried. Thank you. Next is approval of minutes. there tonight, Commissioners, we need to approve the minutes from the Thursday, January 7th meeting. Those meetings are in your packet. I assume you've had the chance to review those. Do we have any corrections or comments concerning those minutes?
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, make a motion to approve the minutes. Commissioner Elliott, I second the motion.
Motion to approve from Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, second from Commissioner Elliott. Could we please have a roll call vote?
Commissioner Elliott,
Yes. Commissioner
Mayor Pro
Elliott.
Tem Bryant,
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, yes.
Commissioner Garza,
Commissioner Garza, yes.
Commissioner Rowley,
Commissioner Rowley, yes.
Commissioner Lovett,
Commissioner Lovett, yes.
Commissioner Casals.
Commissioner Casals, yes.
And the vote was 6 in favor, none opposed. The motion is carried and the minutes are approved. Next is recognition of visitors. We would like to welcome anyone that has joined the meeting this evening and look forward to hearing from you when we reach the agenda item that you're here to speak to. We will next look at proclamations, awards, and presentations. And we have a couple of items there this evening. The first is presentation of plaque to Bill Blackard, plumbing inspector. And for this, we're going to call on Mr. Pete Wilt. Mr. Wilt.
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners. First of all, Bill, he started before I got here, back in about 20 years ago. He was usually the first one here, the last one to leave. He really loved his family, his grandkids. He made time, he made all efforts to be with them. I think we were tied second or third behind hunting. He was an avid hunter. He was a very dedicated employee that took pride in his job. He had no favorites that he would show. He made sure everybody followed the same code with the same regulation. If you ever asked him to do anything, he got it done, but he didn't hold any punches. He would let you know what he thought. He will be missed, and he's going to be hard to fill. And I would like to thank him, myself, and all the building safety department. Would like to just say thank you for your time, and we will miss you, but we will drop by and see you when we can.
Thank you. Thank you for that, for those comments, Mr. Wilt. We also have Sarah Williford, and she has Mr. Blackard with her there. And I would give the floor to you, Sarah. Is that,
Nope, I don't think that is Mr. Blackard.
oh,
That must be a Rotarian
my,
or Kiwanis Club member there with her.
forgive me.
It's-
I'm sorry about that. And that was my mistake. I jumped and looked at a agenda item that was yet to come, and that was my mistake, and I'd ask your forgiveness. Appreciate your comments, Mr. Wilt, and Mr. Howalt. I'd ask if you have comments on Mr. Blackard.
Thank you, Mayor. I too would just like to thank Mr. Blackard for his service. He's been a great asset to the city of Clovis and to our citizens, performing his inspection work on behalf of this city, making sure that our homeowners and businesses, that the codes were adhered to and built in compliance with our codes. And we're going to miss him. He's going to be difficult to replace, and I wish him well, and just want to keep Bill in our thoughts and prayers. Thank you, Mayor.
And Mayor, if I may, Bill is actually watching on Facebook this evening.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Burrows, for pointing that out. Mr. Blackard, thank you for your service to the city of Clovis, and we will get this plaque to you. And that I would like to read the plaque. Says, with the heartfelt thanks of a grateful community. Bill Blackard, plumbing inspector, May 1st, 2000 to December 4th, 2020. And we appreciate all that you've done for the city of Clovis, Mr. Blackard. Thank you for those comments, Mr. Wilt and Mr. Howalt. Next, we have a presentation of proclamation proclaiming January 2021 as Kiwanis Clubs of Clovis Month. And we have Sarah Williford on hand to share with us about that. And I'd love to give you the floor now, Ms. Williford.
So greetings, Mayor, Commissioners, city employees. It is my privilege. Hi, I'm Sarah Williford. I am Secretary of the Noonday Kiwanis Club of Clovis. With me, I have our president, our club president, Jim Coleman, who is a surprise to the meeting. I wasn't aware that he was in town to join us. So
I'm here.
surprise. Our club turned 100 years on January 10th. We are the third oldest Kiwanis club in the state of New Mexico. We've done a lot in 100 years. I see fellow Kiwanians and former Kiwanians with us. Hello, Helen. We sponsored the Now Morning Club, the El Dosiano Club, as a branch from this original club. That's when we became Noonday. And we work in partnership with them, with the Portales Club, to just do, we call ourselves the little club that does, because any little thing that needs doing, that's what we're here to do, particularly to serve children. That is the purpose of Kiwanis International. But just helping other civic organizations, other service organizations, other groups within town. We have a heart for service here, and we love doing the good work that keeps Clovis going, keeps families going, keeps children in school, keeps children reading, keep things going. So we're so proud to have hit that 100-year mark, and we look forward to more. Jim?
My name's Jim Coleman. I've been president of that Clovis Noonday Club for several years. When I took it over, one of our goals was to make the 100-year mark. It wasn't easy what we've done, and we made it happen. And I'm really proud of that. And I go back to the days of Al Jolly and Doc McDonald and Pete Wilt's father. They held Kiwanis together for a lot of years. But now we're 100 years old, and all our goals are to go for one more 100 years for Clovis Noonday Kiwanis. Good to see all you folks, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, it's good to see you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing this with us this evening. One of our commissioners, Commissioner Casaus, is a member of Kiwanis, and Commissioner Casaus, I'd like for you to share the proclamation.
Commissioner, you're on mute.
Let me give you a little tidbit first about Kiwanis. They were formed in 1915, and believe it or not, they did not allow women to be in the club. Until 1987 is when they voted that women could be members. So ever since then, Kiwanis has thrived like you wouldn't believe. I don't know how they survived without the women until 1987.
You tell them how.
But anyway, women are allowed to join the club now. Okay, proclamation. Whereas the first Kiwanis Club started its service in Detroit, Michigan, USA in 1915. And whereas Kiwanis International is one of the largest service organizations in the world with more than 551,000 members of all ages, abilities in more than 80 nations. And whereas the members of Kiwanis Club of Clovis are devoted to improving the world one child and one community at a time by seeking primary to the human and spiritual rather than the material value of life. And whereas, in addition to improving the lives of children in Clovis, New Mexico, and its communities around the world, Kiwanis Club members promote the development of community leaders, positive role models, intercultural understanding and cooperation, and opportunities for fellowship, personal growth, professional development, and community service. And whereas the Kiwanis Club of Clovis Noonday was formed on 10th January 1921. And whereas the service provided by the Kiwanis Club of Clovis will continue to have positive impact on the community and citizens.
Now therefore I, Mike Morris, Mayor of the City of Clovis, and on behalf of the City Commission, do hereby proclaim January 2021 as Kiwanis Clubs of Clovis Month in the City of Clovis, and call upon all citizens to thank the Kiwanis Clubs of Clovis for dedication and support to many programs in our community. Thank you, Commissioner Casals, and thank you, Mr. Coman, for joining us, and Ms. Williford, thank you. We appreciate that presentation this evening. We're glad you've joined us and shared this with us.
Thank you. Again, looking forward to another 100 years to serve Clovis, and thank Clovis for supporting us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next in the agenda, Commissioners, is receipts of petitions and communications. Do we have anyone that has joined the meeting this evening, either by video or by phone, that wishes to provide public comment? And it appears that we do not. So we will move on in the agenda to the consent agenda. Commissioners, as you know, this item is placed on the agenda so that the Commission, by unanimous consent, can designate those routine agenda items that they wish to approve or acknowledge by one motion. If any proposal does not meet with the approval of all Commission members, or if a citizen so requests, that item will be heard when reached under the regular agenda. 8 items there this evening, Commissioners. The first is the motion to place, and the 8th is the motion to approve. So I will read items 2 through 7. Item 2 is request for approval of memorandum of agreement between Cannon Air Force Base and Clovis Fire Department for EMS services. 3 is request for approval of easement with Plateau Telecommunications Incorporated for the expansion of fiber optic service in Clovis. Item 4 is request for approval for the City of Clovis to act as fiscal agent for any capital outlay funding received by the Food Bank of Eastern New Mexico during the 2021 legislative session. Item 5 is request for approval of intergovernmental transfer of fire truck to Curry County transfer of fire truck to Curry County. Item 6 is request for approval of agreement for medical director services for the for Clovis Fire Department between Dr. Ronald Carver and the City of Clovis. Item 7 is request for approval of emergency budget transfer of $25,000 from 75-0603-64675 traffic supplies to 75-0603-62810 vehicle maintenance for the purchase and installation of a new engine for traffic unit number 55. Commissioners, this being an action item, I'm going to check with each of you to see if you have any comments, questions, or concerns related to the consent agenda. I'll check first with Commissioner Garza.
Mr. Mayor, I don't have no concerns or questions about this. I think everything's fine.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Lovett.
I don't have any concerns either. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Elliott.
Commissioner Elliott has no concerns.
Thank you, Commissioner Rowley.
Commissioner Rowley, no concerns.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Casals.
Commissioner Casals, no comment.
Thank you. And lastly, Mayor Pro Tem Bryant.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, no concerns.
That being the case, do I hear a motion to place the indicated items on the consent agenda by unanimous vote?
Commissioner Garza makes a motion to approve.
Commissioner Casal, second.
Motion to place from Commissioner Garza, second from Commissioner Casals. Ms. Burrows, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant,
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, yes.
Commissioner Garza,
Commissioner Garza, yes.
Commissioner Rowley,
Commissioner Rowley, yes.
Commissioner Lovett,
Commissioner Lovett, yes.
Commissioner Casals,
Commissioner Casal, yes.
Commissioner Elliott.
Commissioner Elliott, yes.
Thank you, and by a vote of 6-0, the motion is carried. Do I hear a motion to approve or acknowledge all items on the consent agenda?
Commissioner Garza moves to approve.
Commissioner Elliott, second.
Motion to approve from Commissioner Garza, second from Commissioner Elliott. Ms. Burrows, could we please have a roll call?
Commissioner Garza,
Commissioner Garza, yes.
Commissioner Rowley,
Commissioner Rowley, yes.
Commissioner Lovett,
Commissioner Lovett, yes.
Commissioner Casals,
Commissioner Casal, yes.
Commissioner Elliott,
Commissioner Elliott, yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, yes.
Thank you. By a vote of 6-0, the motion has carried. And Mr. Howald?
We're experiencing, this is a brand new audio system,
Okay.
and our sound is audible to all of our platforms except for Sudden Link. Are we good now? No? If we could take maybe a 10-minute recess while they work on that, will that, Paul?
Yeah, we're working actively. We hope to be done soon. So recess would be nice.
Okay.
Okay. I think that's acceptable, and that's what we'll do. In order to give our IT folks the opportunity to correct this, we will take a 10-minute recess. Thank you.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
To make sure that everything is functioning properly. We do have a new sound system here in the North Annex, and there's some key.
Mayor, we can't hear you.
We don't know. We're working on it. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Nothing on the dais or the other side table? Huh? The other side table and dais, we're not hearing them.
Testing, testing.
Testing.
Back on. All right, commissioners. I believe you can probably hear me this time. And we will start our meeting back up, having taken a break, and allow our IT folks to get us going again. And I wanted to thank our IT crew for the work that they're doing as we iron out some of the bugs with the new sound system, which is clearly functioning a lot better than the old one did. But again, there's always something that needs to be worked out. So thanks for allowing us that break so that can be fixed. We are at introduction and adoption of resolutions and ordinances, and we have one item there this evening, commissioners, and it is request for approval of adoption of resolution number 3053-2021 regarding proposed state law concerning civil rights cause of action without qualified immunity. Commissioners, I know that you are probably all aware of what we're talking about here, but this is pertaining to the Civil Rights Commission, which was created by House Bill 5 last summer during the special session. And this Civil Rights Commission that was appointed is charged with making recommendations regarding potential civil rights cause of action instances. And this commission has made a recommendation to the legislature, and we can expect that there will be a bill which seeks to create an act, New Mexico Civil Rights Act, which would involve compensatory damage awards, attorney fees, no claim cap, and this would strip off qualified immunity as an available defense. And the concerns with this are many, and I know that Chief Ford is with us this evening and wants to share. Initially, my concerns are that this will no doubt result in greater cost to our city, to our municipality, which as you know, is nothing more than a greater cost to the taxpayers and to the citizens. And so that concerns me. Also, I feel like that this could have a really detrimental impact on the ability to recruit and retain qualified officers. And that's, the ironic thing is that I think the answer, and many do think that the answer to this would be to hire and retain qualified officers, provide them with great training, and then hold them accountable to follow the policies that they're trained on. So anyway, I wanted to make those comments by way of introducing this, but I would like to give Chief Ford the floor to visit with us about this. Chief Ford.
Mayor, Commissioners, I appreciate you allowing me to speak on this issue that has come up. I will say that I just found where we had gotten information from the Municipal League that this bill that we're concerned about was apparently, has come out and is posted as HB4, and the sponsor is Representative Lewis out of District 26. So it is now listed. If you would like to look at what it is on, you can pull it up on your legislative report for Municipal League. And it is HB4. One of the biggest concerns we have with this is the effects it would have not only on law enforcement, but on all government. I think you need to realize that it's not just us that would be in the situation of looking at the litigation and then coming after, but it would be all government, all municipalities, all state governments. In anything that happens that someone feels like they've been wronged unjustly, and they're going to come after and sue those entities. So not only police, but fire, but any of our government entities. The biggest effect will be on us, needless to say, because of them wanting to come after us for something they feel like was done wrong, whether it was or not, and trying to recoup some kind of financial damages from it, which currently there are caps now, but this would take away the caps. It would also place it would place a lot of burden on the actual officers, where they would have to either have some kind of insurance to protect them, or it would have to be provided by the employer, which would also affect our budgets and would affect the funds for the city to help cover this. So this is definitely not good legislation to take care of an issue they feel is important. There's other ways that are there to deal with that, and we have other things we can do to deal with that, and we do take care of those things. So I think it's definitely something we need to keep an eye on and be very vocal to our representatives about, and making sure that we protect us and we protect all the citizens of our state and of our communities. Any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer those.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you for that information, and there may well be some questions for you. Commissioners, voting to approve this resolution, if we were to, if you vote yes, you're approving this resolution, which stands against this legislation, and puts us on record as saying that we disagree that this would be how we approach this. And I think it's important that we do take that stand. So Chief is available for questions. I will check with each of you for any comments or questions that you have, and I'll begin with, this time I'll begin with Commissioner Lovett.
This time I don't have any comments, besides I certainly agree. It puts us at a lot of liability. It's going to be even harder to recruit policemen, and appreciate Chief Ford for his presentation. So I guess I did have comments, so I appreciate the time.
Yep. Thank you, Commissioner. Next is Commissioner Elliott.
Yeah, Chief Ford, thank you so much for bringing that up to us, and I absolutely think we need to try to stop this this bill. It would do nothing but harm the police, fire, and everything in the city, and end up the people of the city will just be paying the bill, and you guys don't need anything else to hinder you from supporting the law and doing that. So it definitely needs to be struck down. We do not need that. And appreciate you and all your helpers, your officers and things, and what you do, and the fire. And you guys do a great job, and we don't need to hinder you or hold this over your head. So I sure don't think we need that.
Thank you, Commissioner Elliott. Next, Commissioner Rowley.
Commissioner Rowley, no comments or questions, everything was answered.
Thank you. Commissioner Casals.
I agree with the other commissioners, and thank you, Chief Ford, for all you do and keeping us safe.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mayor Pro Tem Bryant.
Chief, thanks for the presentation. I definitely agree with you, and I definitely oppose this. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. And Commissioner Garza.
Thank you, Mayor. I did receive some information from Chief Ford, which I appreciate that, and I forward that to our representatives. So just to make sure that they get the picture as to what is it that we're trying to do here, and hopefully this thing is a no-go. It's bad legislation at this point in time for this to be brought up. We have other things that we need to worry about, and this is not one of them. We need to get rid of this and soon. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Garza. Commissioners, I agree with all of your comments. Certainly, your expressions of appreciation to Chief Ford and our police department and the work that they do. I echo those comments. With that, do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Commissioner Levitt seconds that motion.
We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Garza and a second from Commissioner Levitt. Ms. Burrows, could we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Rowley,
Commissioner Rowley, yes.
Commissioner Lovett,
Commissioner Levitt, yes.
Commissioner Casals,
Commissioner Casals, yes.
Commissioner Elliott,
Commissioner Elliott, yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant,
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, yes.
Commissioner Garza.
What do I need to sign this resolution? Yes. The sooner the better.
Thank you. That's a 6-0 vote in favor, and the motion is carried. Thank you, commissioners. We have nothing to deal with in unfinished business this evening, so that takes us to section 13, new business. If you remember, we struck item 3 there, so that leaves us 3 items to deal with there. And the first one is request for approval of lodger's tax quarterly disbursements from January 2021. And this evening we have Lodgers Tax Board Chairman Thomas Martin joining us. And Mr. Martin, thanks for being here, and I'd give you the floor.
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners. We had 4 applications. I will briefly go over each one of them. The first one is Smoke on the Water. Mr. Duffy Moon approached us again this year. Request was $15,000. They are planning on a full 4th of July celebration like they've done in the past. With COVID last year, they did not use all of their funds. The funds that were not used last year were allocated to this year's recommended funding of $15,000. With COVID in mind, if there is anything that needs to be adjusted for this year, they will do so just like they did last year in accordance with the state. The second application was for Shad Mayfield welcome billboards. This one, we worked through it to, the initial application, we didn't feel like it qualified under lodger's tax guidelines. So it was for 2 billboards within the city limits that welcome people to Clovis or passing through Clovis. One of the guidelines that we look at is 25% of the funds need to be outside of Clovis, pulling visitors in, because that's the point of lodgers tax funds, is to get people into Clovis and room nights and spending money within the city from outside of the city. So the recommendation was for 2 billboards within the city limits for 2 years. We are now recommending that it's a 1-year recommendation. The billboards are, at least one of them is outside of the city limits. So it's bringing people in, it falls under the guidelines, and that it is advertising rodeos in throughout the year in Clovis. So that recommendation was changed from $18,361 to $11,000 for a 1-year recommendation, or 1-year term. That way they can keep those billboards fresh and come back. We knew there was going to be some adjustments, so that's why it's not a half. It wasn't half of the request. We increased it a little bit because we know it's going to cost a little more, but we feel like it's more effective going that route. The third request was from the chamber. It's the 2021 Livability New Mexico Guide. We approved it last year. The request was for $7,315. We recommended that amount. It's a guide that is shared electronically and physically throughout the U.S. And it's one of those trying to fish and get people into the city. The fourth one was the community branding initiative that the CIDC and Chamber has been working on for the community branding vision for Clovis as a whole. It was for $55,000. We recommended full funding of it. We feel like it ties a lot of things together with the city, what we do outside of the city from a branding perspective, what we do inside the city. And if we're all on the same page, we can only do better things by getting people attracted to Clovis, both through tourism and new business, and we think it's good for the whole. So total request, I actually don't have that number in front of me, but those were the 4 applications, and I'll stand for any questions on any of the 4.
Great, thank you, Mr. Martin. And I'm looking at it. The total was $88,315 for those 4 requests. So obviously, commissioners, the Lodgers Tax Board has a lot of discussion about these things before they make their decisions and then bring them to us as a recommendation. But I wondered, Mr. Martin, if you would, was it shared with you where the billboard would be, the billboard that was going to be located outside the city?
No, again, because we made the discussion all came up during the presentation. What was recommended is that if we're going to be advertising rodeos, is that we look for, outside of the city, where are we going to best attract rodeo visitors? And that's where they locate the billboard. But as long as it's, if it meets the guidelines, and that's something that will be verified on the back end. So there was not we did not discuss that.
Okay, thank you.
And, Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
if I may,
Mr. Howell.
As part of that discussion, there was talks about, should it be out on I-40? Our guidelines do say that 25% rule has to be, I want to say, outside of 90 miles. And so as long as they meet that requirement, then they've met our policies that this commission has established.
I see. Thank you. Thank you for that explanation. And just to be clear, I think that having a world champion tie-down roper from our town is a wonderful thing, and we should certainly have signs out there. But I was following your train of thought there on that perhaps that wasn't a lodger's tax expense unless it's being used to promote an event that is, expected to bring folks into town. And again, when you have a world champion calf roper to put on that billboard, that helps do that. So so thanks for the explanation on that. On the community branding initiative that your board decided to, or is recommending to fund, The 55,000, was that the total amount for that project? Is there expected to be an annual cost associated with that, or was that discussed?
That's a good question. And it was, yeah, actually, Commissioner Garza did bring that up. This is the funding of the foreseeable future of the project is to get it to where it's usable. And Mrs. Gail Tarson, Mrs. Tarson, who's on the board, you know, she mentioned that we never stop marketing. But I think what the board did discuss was if it makes sense to continue and it continues to fall under lodger's tax, or if it falls into another part of funding, if it continues to make sense to fund it, we can always cross that bridge later on. But other cities do have, it continues to be funded year, I guess, you know, quarterly every year, that have had this implemented in their cities. Now, if that is not lodger's tax, we did not commit to anything past this funding, but if it's used correctly, I think you know, there is going to be funding in some way, or asked for from somewhere additionally.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that, Mr. Martin. I'll check with the commissioners to see if they have comments or questions, beginning with Commissioner Elliott.
I have no comment. I think it's great to honor our world champion, and the other items are great too. So I have no questions. I think it's great.
Commissioner Rowley.
Commissioner Rowley, no comments or questions at this time.
Commissioner Casals.
No comments. Commissioner Casals.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant. I'm fine with everything that's on it. I do have a couple of questions on the community branding. And Mr. Martin actually answered a couple of them, but did they provide a scope of work for the 55,000 that were provided?
Yes, they did. And Mayor Pro Tem, I just have our meeting notes in front of us, but there was, I believe we approved 2 phases within the scope, and there was detailed information on what was within each phase.
Okay. And the other question, of course, I think you addressed that they will probably be coming back to the city for additional funding later on. Is that correct?
It sounds like they might. There was nothing, again, within the application that mentioned that, but in previous meetings, other cities have continued to fund the branding initiative in some manner.
Okay. So what you're kind of saying, what I'm understanding, this could be an ongoing thing that might not end?
Well, I think if we look at it as a community branding, I don't think it should end. I think what we just need to ask ourselves in the future, if it is requested, is does it fall within the guidelines of lodger's tax to continue to fund it? Just like any other recurring funding that comes before the board. And again, we can cross that bridge when it comes before us. But we can always say no. If it doesn't make sense and it doesn't fall within the guidelines, then the board hopefully would recommend a no. Or if it's a wonderful branding initiative that we see traction with, and we see that there are results, and it falls within the guidelines of lodger's tax, then we would, as a board, come with a recommendation that yes, we do continue. But there wasn't any, other than a discussion that it is possible for future funding requests. There wasn't, that was probably as far as that went.
Okay, so I think we just need to kind of keep an eye on it and see kind of where it goes, and kind of what they can provide to the city of Clovis.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Next, Commissioner Garza.
Mr. Mayor, yes, I don't have a problem. I did have a problem with the amount of money that it was going to be that it was requested. But I think we talk about the logo issue. I think we might be able to work that out locally. I don't know how the project is approached by the chamber and CIDC. But again, I think it falls under the guidelines of funding a promotion and is totally legal. So I don't see a problem with it.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Lovett.
Commissioner Lovett, Ms. Martin, I appreciate the information. Appreciate the board doing some well thought out communication with the asks, and I think it's appropriate, and I don't have any further questions.
Thank you, Commissioner. And with that, do we have any other discussion, or do I hear a motion? Oh, excuse me, Mr. Howalt.
Thank you, Mayor. And I know it's been discussed regarding the ongoing costs of the marketing brand. And one thing that we did talk about is that the city of Clovis does have other marketing contracts that we have with the chamber. We also, through the lodger's tax, pay for a special events coordinator, which as part of that is also supposed to be marketing. And so if we do continue on with future costs with this and looking at that, I think we would need to consider that as a whole when we look at future costs for marketing and branding.
Thank you for that. I think that was an important point to make, and I agree. We do need to monitor that. With that, any other discussion, commissioners?
I make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Casals.
Commissioner Lovett, seconds.
And a second from Commissioner Lovett. Ms. Burrows, could we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Lovett,
Commissioner Lovett, yes.
Commissioner Casals,
Commissioner Casals, yes.
Commissioner Elliott,
Commissioner Elliott, yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant,
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, yes.
Commissioner Garza,
Commissioner Garcia, yes.
Commissioner Rowley.
Commissioner Rowley, yes.
Thank you, Ms. Burrows. That's a 6-0 vote in favor. The motion is carried. Next is item 2 under new business, and it is request for approval of FY 2016 ambulance billing write-off. And we have Chief Nolan joining us this evening. Chief, thank you for being here, and I'll give you the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners. So I'm back before you again, as I do annually, under New Mexico statute in reference to ambulance billing write-off. During the year of 2016, the Clovis Fire Department processed 4,634 claims for ambulance service, totaling $3,700,363.41. After all efforts to collect these accounts have been exhausted, there remains an outstanding balance of $340,543.09. That is 652 of those accounts. The amount we are requesting to write off is 9.2% of the total amount billed during 2016. The amount may change slightly if we receive additional payments. We would also like to remove the claims process for Curry County jail inmates, which are considered resolved based on the JPA. These consist of 100 accounts representing $61,784.36. In addition, I'd like to remove 2 claims for deceased persons with no estate to collect from. These 2 claims have a combined balance of $341.85. Clovis Fire Department respectfully requests permission to write off these outstanding balances, all totaled of $402,669.30. And with that, I would stand for any questions.
Thank you, Chief Nolan. Appreciate that. while $400,000 seems like an awful lot of money to write off, your collection rate strikes me as really pretty good. Is that about what it runs year in and year out, or I mean, obviously there's a great amount of effort on your part or your department's part to do this collection work. If you're collecting that high of a percentage of these claims, tell me about what that rate runs typically.
So over the last few years, we've been up as high as 82% collection rate. Right now, we're down to 78%, but I must say, my ladies in the billing office are doing outstanding work. That's also while working from home during the COVID process. They're back in the offices now because quite honestly, our collections had started dropping down and they were willing to come back in and work this back up. COVID has certainly hit us this year with the changes in schedules, but also in the differentiation of calls. We're running more 911 calls, much less transfers. Now, over the last several years, our transfers have diminished. With the compensation plan in and being able to hire more personnel in the department, those individuals that used to come back in for transfers have been coming back in to staff the shifts to be able to cover the city for 911. So now we're coming back up with staffing. We intend to bring our transfers back up. But again, we are talking about the year of 2016, following many transfers and regular transfers on the road. At that time, we were averaging 88 transfers a month. The full revenue billed for 2016 was $3,703,363.41. But with that said, the big differentiation comes with the contractual adjustments. That's the allowed amount that Medicare or Medicaid allows reimbursement on. And that cuts off almost a third of our revenues right there. It's completely uncollected. The remaining uncollected amounts that we're asking to write off either stand usually the majority in two categories, and that is either undocumented or non-addressed individuals. After the 5 years that we've chased this, we've not even been able to locate individuals. Now, the one caveat within the statute and the one request that we make in this is the write-off amount with the exception that payments may come in on that. So we do still carry that in electronic data. And the reason for that is individuals oftentimes come forward, whether they're trying to purchase a residence or under obligations to make those payments to bring their credit scores back up. And so we have allowance for that. That would decrease the amount that we write off of the official books carried in office day to day. I also should mention that 2 years ago, Las Cruces had requested we do their billing for them because of our collection rate. Unfortunately, I don't have enough ladies to do that. And just as of late, we've had a request from perhaps Texaco to assist with their ambulance billing, but we're unable to accomplish that at this time also.
Thank you for that, Chief. Appreciate it, and appreciate the explanation of the tremendous amount of work that goes in on the collection process. Great job on that, and great job on everything that your department does. We appreciate you very much. Commissioners, I'll check with you for comments or questions, beginning with Commissioner Rowley.
Commissioner Rowley, no comments or questions at this time.
Commissioner Casals.
Commissioner Casals, no comment, just good job, Chief Nolan.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, I have no questions, but Chief, I want to let you know how much we appreciate everything that you and your department does for the city of Clovis. This has been a tough time for everybody within the city, and you all have just really worked hard to make sure everybody's taken care of. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Garza.
Commissioner Garza, no questions, no concerns. Good job, Chief. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lovett.
I don't have any questions. I do want to say thank you, Chief, setting up your staff where you have not only your firemen, but your paramedics, your EMTs, and you've been able to maximize the opportunities with our transfers. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And lastly, Commissioner Elliott.
Chief, thank you so much. You got a bunch of really good guys and gals there and doing a great job, and had a little vaccination for COVID the other day, and some of your guys was in there and held us 15 minutes and just done a great job. But we're blessed to have you guys doing that, and a good job on your collections. I think you're doing a great job. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone. With that, do I hear a motion?
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, I'll make a motion to approve.
Commissioner Garza, second.
Motion to approve from Mayor Pro Tem Bryant and second from Commissioner Garza. Could we please have a roll call?
Commissioner Casals,
Commissioner Casals, yes.
Commissioner Elliott,
Commissioner Elliott, yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant,
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, yes.
Commissioner Garza,
Commissioner Garza, yes.
Commissioner Rowley,
Commissioner Rowley, yes.
Commissioner Lovett.
Commissioner Lovett, yes.
By a vote of 6-0, the motion is carried. Thank you, and thanks again for being with us this evening, Chief Nolan. Commissioners, as we've already mentioned, we've struck number 3 from the agenda this evening, so we're on to the last item under new business, and that is request for approval of discussion and action regarding the District 4 Commissioner vacancy, which was effective yesterday, January 20th. And I just wanted to mention Commissioner Render, the former Commissioner Render, has joined the meeting this evening as a citizen to follow our meeting, and just wanted to once again thank Commissioner Render for his service to the city of Clovis, and we appreciate him very much. And sad to have his resignation, but happy for him that he gets to enjoy retirement. And that leaves us in a position of needing to deal with this vacancy.
Thank you, Mayor, for those kind words. And I do notice that since the older folks have been thrown off, that the meeting runs a whole lot smoother.
Are you talking
touche.
about me, Brendan?
Commissioners,
I wish I was your age.
glad to have you here, and love the comments, and certainly hope you'll stay in touch, because we sure appreciate your sense of humor, Commissioner Render. Commissioners, as you know, the city charter calls for us to fill that vacancy and within 30 days, and so we need to do that. And what I would propose, and I would appreciate your input and your thoughts on this, but I propose that we take applications from interested residents of District 4, folks interested in serving in the role of commissioner. And it's my suggestion that we would take applications and have applicants attach to that application a resume, and if they wish, letters of recommendation, and that we would open a window of time for folks to put applications in. We'd open that window as soon as possible, tomorrow if possible. Have the applications on the city website, have them available for pickup at City Hall, and as I said, take applications, but then close the application window on Wednesday, February 10th. And doing that would allow each of you to review those applications between close of business February 10th and our February 18th commission meeting. And at that February 18th commission meeting, we will vote and appoint the the new commissioner for District 4. And with that, I'll go around and check with each of you, beginning with Commissioner Casals.
Commissioner Casals, yes, I agree.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Mayor Pro Tem Bryant.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, I'm fine with that, Mayor, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Garza.
Commissioner Garza, I'm okay with that plan. I think it's the right thing to do.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Elliott.
Yeah, Commissioner Elliott, yes, I think that's the right way to do that. I think it's the most fair way. And the candidates can speak before the commission and give us their spiel. So I think it's good. Thank you for coming up with that.
Yes, sir. And thank you for mentioning that part about having them speak. We will, I just think it'd be important to find a way to make sure that we allow those applicants to address us in person. And so we will put together a plan regardless of of what's going on. Hopefully we're gonna see ourselves moving out of COVID restrictions and the limitations on gatherings and so forth. But for the February 18th meeting, we will create a plan in order to be safely physically distanced and have those interested applicants visit us in person and present to the commission their wishes to serve. Lastly, I will check with Commissioner Rowley.
Commissioner Rowley, I agree with that, and I do like the idea of having them come in to speak with us, kind of given their story.
Okay, thank you for that. Is that a solid enough plan, and can we move forward with that? And if so, do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion, Commissioner Garza, to approve.
Okay, motion for approval.
Mr. Elliott seconds that motion.
Motion for approval from Commissioner Garza, second from Commissioner Elliott. Ms. Burrows, could we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Elliott,
Yes, Mr. Elliott.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant,
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, yes.
Commissioner Garza,
Commissioner Garza, yes.
Commissioner Rowley,
Commissioner Rowley, yes.
Commissioner Lovett,
Commissioner Lovett, yes.
Commissioner Casals.
Commissioner Casals, yes.
Thank you. By a vote of 6-0, the motion is carried, and we can get a press release out tomorrow detailing the application process so that the public can be aware, and we encourage those citizens that reside in District 4 that are interested in serving to apply. Thank you. Next is
Mayor, I apologize.
yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
Will that information that's going to be sent out tomorrow show the areas of District 4?
Yes, we will include a graphic that is a map, a district map of the city, so that anyone interested can make sure that they do reside within District 4. I know it can be kind of confusing. And in fact, the city's website, on the city's website, you have the ability to go and actually put your address in, and it'll tell you what district you're in.
Right.
But yes, we'll include that information. Thank you.
And Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners will have hard copies of the application at City Hall together with the district maps and the form. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Burrows. All right. Next is reports of boards, officers, and committees. And we have a planned report there this evening from Leanne Melanson, the monthly investment report. Ms. Melanson, thanks for being with us, and I'll give you the floor.
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners. We are halfway through the year. This is our December 31st report. We started the month a little over 47 million, ended at 46.5 million. Brief overview of some of the funds. General Fund 1, ending cash 2.1 million. Solid Waste Fund 2, 4.1 million. Environmental Tax Fund 6, 7.7 million. Wastewater Fund 10, 9.7 million. Economic Development Gross Receipts Fund 64, 2.6 million. Our Water Quarter% Gross Receipts Fund 66, 1.4 million. And our Drainage Improvement Fund 88, just a little over $1 million. Our breakdown of our funds, we have $23 million in our local banks, and $23 million in the state investment pool. Our interest for the month was $4,700. For the 6 months year to date, almost, not quite 60,000. And our state pool is at 0.1153. The finance committee is just watching rates and hoping that investment opportunities improve soon. And gross receipts, we did receive our gross receipts. We are tracking it. We are actually about 13% down from this time last year. Not sure how much of this is related to the second shutdown, how much may just be timing for the reporting period with the way that December fell and the holidays, but we are watching that, hoping that maybe we just had late filers and it will improve next month. Our amount received per our budget is still, including our House Bill 6 internet sales, is still 12% above last year. So trending budget-wise, we are still doing positively. So happy to answer any questions.
Well, that is good news. Thank you for that report, Ms. Melanson. Do we have any questions for her? You do that report so well. There are no questions from the commission. Do we have any other reports from boards, officers, and committees?
Yes, Mayor. Commissioner Casals here.
Yes, ma'am.
We met with Retail Strategies this morning in Main Street, and we got a lot of good recommendations, great information on revitalizing downtown. That's all we spoke about, was about the downtown revitalization, and they have excellent ideas that we're looking at. Claire, do you have anything else to say, or Justin, about the meeting this morning?
Yes, Commissioner, it went very well. Lisa Pellegrino-Spear was very excited to hear the suggestions that the Retail Strategies Group, who have a lot of Main Street experience at the national level, that they had to share with us. And we'll be looking at several of the recommendations that they have working with Main Street, including the potential to put the downtown district on the national register, which would give them some more tax incentives for the people revitalizing in the downtown area. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. Also, Mayor, after the meeting from our last meeting, the commission meeting, and hearing the hospital administrator give us what all they have gone through during this COVID time, we formed a committee so we can show our love and gratitude to our healthcare workers. It is going to be on February the 11th, so everybody mark your calendars. We're going to form like a parade, more information to come between 6 and 7 in the evening. We're working on all the details. We will be posting more information. We would like the community to also get involved, and let us just show how much we love our healthcare workers in this town. Thank you.
I think that's a great idea. Thank you for sharing that with us, Commissioner Casals. Showing appreciation to our medical workers is something that we definitely need to do. And thanks for the report on the meeting with Main Street and Retail Strategies. I'm glad to hear about the various ways we're getting a lot of value from our contract with Retail Strategies. So thank you for sharing that. Other reports. Hearing none, I'll report on the LEDA amendment bill. You must wonder each time you see me what's going on with that, since I've been talking about it for months now. But I was so excited the other day to find out that it was assigned a number. The bill that we've been working on to amend LEDA is SB 49, and so commissioners, you you can track it there, and the work on that continues. And we are preparing. I'm preparing to testify in committees and do our very best to get that through, because I really believe that it will be vital for economic development in our city, and I think it's good for cities all around the state. So I think it has a great chance of passing. Last call for reports. All right, future agenda items. Do we have future agenda items to mention? Commissioners, anyone? Mr. Manager? Ms. Burrows, go ahead.
Mayor, we will have the EIB ordinance before you at the next commission meeting for action. And we are working on some condemnations, about 4 housing condemnations that will be coming to you, but they'll probably be the meeting after next. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Burrows. Anything, Mr. Howalt?
Ms. Burrows covered it.
She covered it. Great job. All right. Next is announcement of date, time, and place of city board and commission meetings. The Clovis-Carver Library Board plans to meet at 5:30 p.m. Monday, January 25th, and that will be held virtually. Civil Aviation Board plans to meet at 5:30 p.m. Tuesday, February 2nd. That will be held virtually. And the next City Commission meeting is planned for 5:15 on Thursday, February 4th, and we expect to be able to do that here in the North Annex. With that, commissioners, thank you. Good night. We are adjourned.